Hey, my name is Colby DeWeese, and I'm going to be talking about how we can get the most out of our training in the 8 weeks leading up to KO and the OK CrossFit competition. We can get the most out of our training by focusing on our nutrition. We're going to make sure that we're adequately fueled prior to our training, and then also make sure that our bodies are primed to recover after our training. We're going to go through 4 quick tips to optimize our training through nutrition prior to a competition. Tip number 1 is going to be to have protein at every meal. Protein is a key component to muscular recovery. The easiest way to make sure that we're getting enough of it is to just have it at every meal. Try to limit fatty sources of protein to 1 meal per day. For the rest of the meals, try to use lean sources of protein. Lean sources of protein include chicken, turkey, white fish, protein powders. Tip number 2 is going to be to have carbs around your training sessions. People are either terrified of carbs or they love them. But when it comes to your training and getting ready for a competition, carbs are going to be incredibly important. Carbohydrates convert to glycogen, which is what your muscles use to fuel them during workouts. By eating enough carbohydrates before we work out, that means that our glycogen stores are going to be full and we're going to be able to perform as well as we can. After our workout, carbs are also incredibly important to jumpstart that recovery process. It's going to cause a spike in your insulin, which was going to act as a shuttle to get key nutrients to your muscles to help repair them after your workouts. After your training sessions, instead of just a protein shake, make sure you're getting carbs in too. A 2-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein is usually pretty great in terms of spiking your insulin to drive those nutrients to your muscles. Tip number 3 is minimize processed carbohydrates and minimize sugary snacks. KO and the OK is the first weekend in January, which means that the weeks leading up to that competition, we're going to be constantly fighting off temptation to overindulge in snacks and sweets. To make sure that we don't overindulge in snacks and sweets is going to keep us from gaining that holiday 10 pounds. That holiday 10 pounds is going to make pull-ups, chin-ups, and muscle-ups incredibly difficult. A pro tip is going to be to work out before we have that big holiday meal to ensure that those nutrients, instead of just being stored as excess fat, they're going to replenish the muscles that we just broke down in training session. Tip number 4, don't drink your calories, limit your alcohol intake. Drinks can have a huge amount of hidden sugars in them. A lot of drinks are loaded with sugar. Pop's loaded with sugar, but even drinks like orange juice can be loaded with sugar. 8 ounces of orange juice can have up to 25 grams of sugar in it. It's super important to watch our alcohol intake in the weeks leading up to a competition. Alcohol severely affects our recovery, meaning that we're not going to be able to get as much out of our workouts as we put into them. And it can also just throw our nutrition in general out of whack. Tip number 5 is to make sure that we are getting enough sleep. Sleep is absolutely vital to recovery. To get anything less than 7 hours of sleep means that we're cheating ourselves out of the hard work that we put in at the gym by not recovering properly. Not just the quantity of sleep is important, but also the quality of sleep is. 2 things that really help is making sure that you're sleeping in a cool, dark room and make sure that you're not looking at your phone right before you go to bed. Doing all of these things really is going to ensure that we have peak performance at KO and the OK. On ChemePerformance.com, there's a list of recommended foods that are broken out per normal serving size with how many macros are in each serving that you can use to get a good grasp on where you're at as far as your nutrition. If you want to take a little bit of a deeper dive into nutrition leading up to the competition, we're going to be running a special that's $180 for 8 weeks of a personalized nutrition coaching program.